we're talking to Jeremy Bagshaw, Cape Town, South African Golden Globe entrant in the Golden Globe single-handed non-stop round the world race. How's it going? Maybe you could give us a little rundown over the last, say, 6 months of your prep for the race.
Sure. The schedule that I'd always set for myself involved leaving at the end of March this year. I'm still pretty much on track to do that. There's just been one little curveball thrown in by the Australian Home Affairs Department. They now require us to have a visa for sailing through Tasmanian waters. Fortunately, that as a South African passport holder, that visa takes about 2 months to get. So if I can't make a different plan, I might have to delay my departure by a little bit to accommodate that visa. But other than that, the boat's on track, I'm on track. I've been doing all the mandatory training courses that I have to do. The last 10 days ago, I did my ship's captain's medical course. I'm currently doing my celestial navigation course, which is more of a sort of revision course than anything else, because like anything, if you don't use it, you lose it, and it's been a very, very worthwhile experience. Next week I go to do my personal survival training course to learn how to jump into a life raft with 10 other people that aren't going to be there, but it's all, I'm sure I'll get some value from that as well, and crowd management will be quite a thing, but all the things that have, the boxes that have to be ticked in. But the big thing is always getting the boat ready, and I'm kind of always 2 steps behind my budget, but she's coming along nicely. I've got a few things still to do, and currently Orlando is out of the water. We've taken the rig down. The rig is back at Sparkraft, and the very clever engineers and artisans there are doing some strengthening and reinforcement work and some clever little racing enhancements. And with the boat being out of the water, I've taken the decision to strip all the anti-fouling and bottom paint off right back to gel coat. That's happening at the moment, and when we've got a smooth gel coat bottom, the team of anti-fouling guys are going to apply copper coat, which hopefully is the product of choice for the event. And yeah, that's pretty much where we are at the moment.
Okay.
You know, with the benefit of being able to look back on the 2018 event and see what happened to some of the competitors that got rolled, as most of them did, or capsized or pitch poled, it's almost an inevitability. And the damage that was suffered by some of the boats on that, and in fact the damage suffered by Jean-Luc van der Heide, the eventual winner, when he got rolled somewhere near Cape Horn, was that the T-fittings in his forward and aft lowers tore a vertical groove in the mast. The backing plates behind him that should take up the load didn't quite hold, and so the result is that his entire rig went slack and wasn't very well supported. So to try and overcome that problem, or to prevent that from happening, Sparkraft guys are fitting doubler plates at the pressure points for the forward and aft lowers to help give the backing plates some support. And then at the cap shroud attachment at the top of the mast, instead of just having a T-fitting with a slot, a groove in the mast, they're actually welding and bolting a fitting right through the mast that will take toggle fittings instead of your normal T-fitting, which is an overall much stronger affair. They've also, in the course of doing the rig check for me, they found that it was advisable to replace the forestay and screecher terminal fittings at the top of the mast, so that's been done as well.
Okay. So it was a good check to do.
It was an essential check, yeah. It's one of the boxes that needs to be checked for the safety requirements, and one that makes a lot of sense if you're going to be sailing.
And then you mentioned also you've got an issue with the engine. You might need to.
At this stage, I don't have an engine.
Okay.
My motor was the original 1973 Volvo MD11C, little 23 horsepower, but a very solidly built little motor, which has been operating reasonably well, but since I've owned the boat, it's never been quite there. And as part of the preventative maintenance, I got some of the guys from Southern Marine to have a look at it, because it wasn't firing particularly well, and they've identified that the injectors were probably blocked up and not operating at a peak efficiency. So they removed one to service them, but were unable to remove the second one, despite probably a total of nearly 3 weeks worth of work going into removing it. So the prognosis is not good. We're currently looking for a replacement cylinder head with injectors. If we can't find that, it's a case of replacing the engine.
Okay.
That would be a body blow to the budget.
So it's going to strike your budget in a big way. Yeah.
The budget that I kind of set aside for new sales is now going to be probably a budget for new engine instead.
And then, I mean, over the last 6 months, you've done a bit of sailing on the boat. I see. You've done spring regatta, double cape, club racing, etc., etc.
Some fishing expeditions out.
Yeah, bit of double-handed, I think. No?
Mostly double-handed. I've done some single-handed stuff, sort of around about False Bay, probably a couple 100 miles max. But I've really just been concentrating at this stage on getting the systems right on the boat. For me, I'm not at all worried about the sailing side of things, so that's the easy bit. But it's been very much a case of getting the boat up to speed with enabling me to do all my manoeuvres easily and effectively with the least amount of risk and effort.
In terms of your personal preparation, like physical stuff, do you think it's important to any sort of physical fitness thing or anything like that?
Yeah. Look, I've made a conscious effort to eat a lot more healthily in the last few months, and I've been doing a bit of gentle running and stuff just to build up a bit of stamina. I've tried to keep up with my yoga stretches every morning and just to maintain a bit of suppleness. But I do have a 6,500 mile sail to the start line, and I think by the time I get there, I'll be very much sailing fit. I think my objective in the last couple of months has just been to make sure that I'm strong and fit enough that I don't injure myself in the sail up to the start line, because don't heal quite as quickly as we used to.
Yeah, and I would imagine a comprehensive physical sort of check before you start the race, like dental, that sort of thing
it's all
quite important.
Yeah, part of the rules.
Oh, really?
Yes, we have to have a full-on medical and dental check. In terms of the rules, it has to be done within 3 months of the start, which I fortunately was given a dispensation for, because in 3 months before the start I'll be out at sea. So they've agreed to let me go anytime, as close as to the leaving date as possible.
I know over quite an extended period of time you've been reducing your involvement in any sort of business that you set up, being a serial entrepreneur type person. Obviously that's so you can step away from any day-to-day worries, etc., etc.
Yeah, it was a conscious decision. You're either in business, as you know, you're either in it 100% or you're not in it. It's very difficult to stand by and just remove yourself from things that possibly you could do better or something. So yeah, it was a conscious decision to exit the rigging business. But fortunately for the company, found exceptionally qualified and capable people to replace me. In fact, way more capable and qualified than I was. very happy to step back and see it continue.
Yeah. Okay, and then maybe you could touch on your delivery trip. Were you planning the route that you're planning to sail to you're going to the UK if it's,
Yes.
I understand correctly.
Yeah, the whole event starts, we have to gather at a port to be advised in the UK. Either it looks as though it will either be Portsmouth or Falmouth or Plymouth. I'm gathering it will be somewhere along the south coast of England. And all the boats that have entered the Golden Globe race will join what they call a festival of sail there, which is to honour Sir Robin's departure in the 1968 68 version of the race. But I'm hoping that I've consciously left myself a lot of slack in the timetable to get there. And my proposed route will be probably direct from Cape Town to the Cape Verde Islands. I don't think it won't be necessary to, but it could happen that I might stop in St. Helena or Ascension along the way, but probably not. From the Cape Verdes, I'll probably go across to the Azores and then follow the traditional route from there to the UK. And as a South African passport holder, I'll probably visit Ireland and spend and soak up some of the time I have available there if I find I have a lot of spare time. I've been invited by one of my competitors to join in Dingle on the west coast of Ireland and spend some time there, which will be a great thing to do.
Yeah, sure, it will be great fun. And then the race itself, maybe you could run through the route. Yeah. You start in France, the south. Right?
Yeah, the first part of the race is a charity race from the port to be named in the UK through to France, and it's a fun race. It's not single-handed or anything. I can take crew with me, friends, family, whatever, anyone who'd like to come along. France, my manager, will definitely be coming along with me for that. And we have to muster in Le Sable at, I think it is the 16th of August, we'll end up there, 16th to 18th of August. And then is the whole build-up for the race, which starts on the 4th of September. It's the course is fairly simple. We have a couple of virtual marks or check-in points, which are not stops, but they're just waypoints that we have to pass by, reduce sail, slow down, and be available to hand over media, film footage, or anything that we might have taken along the way, and just to chat to the race organizer. I suspect they just want to see that we're sane enough to continue with the next leg. But it'll be just nice to catch up. So the first of those points is off Lanzarote in the Canary Islands. And then in the 2018 race, there was no waypoint from there. The next one was actually just Hobart in Tasmania. But quite a few boats damaged themselves sailing the run line between Lanzarote and Cape Town. So with this edition of the race, they've put in the island of Trinidad off the Brazilian coast, which we have to leave to port. So it basically forces us to sail some distance west first the idea being that we follow the logical sort of sail ship route as would have been sailed in the previous years. And from there, leaving Trinidad, we then have a virtual mark off the harbour in Cape Town, just off the breakwater, and it's the same thing, just to check in, hand over video footage, and any letters we might write to friends or whatever. And then from there, it's very much a case of navigating, I suppose probably quite a bit of luck, crossing the Agulhas Current, getting through the band of probable southeasters at that time, to get far enough south to get the westerlies, next stop Hobart.
What time, how long after the start would you anticipate passing the Cape?
Probably from starting 4th September to kind of to third week of October, I would imagine is going to be the route. It could be quicker depending on the weather, but that's most likely the route. Yeah. So it's at that change of seasons. It's just into southern hemisphere spring. As we know from this area, you can get anything from howling winter fronts coming through to early summer gales coming the other way. So yeah, we'll see what we do. There's no strategy that can be pre-planned for that turning market. It'll just be deal with what we get. From there we have to stay north of 44 degrees south all the way through to Hobart. And outside of Storm Bay, which is it's a bay south of Hobart, there will actually be an opportunity if we want to, as Sir Robin did in 1968, tie on to a mooring buoy that is there for that purpose, but we don't have to. We can just drift for a minimum of 90 minutes. Again, meet the race organisers, get a little bit of an interview, hand over media footage, and then we dip south below New Zealand, but we have to stay north of Chatham Island and into the Pacific, where we have to stay above 47 degrees south all the way through to a point just west of Cape Horn, and then we can dip down to 55 south to get around it. From there we have to make a beeline for the mouth of the Rio De La Plata between Uruguay and Argentina. There's a virtual mark off the town of Punta del Este, which is a very famous sailing venue, and that's our last check-in before we sail from there up the Brazilian coast, across the North Atlantic and back to France again.
Okay. And you've obviously worked out roughly how long it might take you.
Yeah. How long is a piece of string? We've got an idea. I would, everybody would, I presume, like to beat Jean-Luc's time from the previous race, but this race has had about an extra 3,000 miles added to it, plus minus, depending on what happens when you get to Cape Town. It could be more, it could be less. So I think anything around 230 days would be a very good time. I'm kind of looking at 240, thinking that's the longest I'd like to take or expect to take.
How long did Sir Robin take to get around?
I think it was 312 days or something like that. Yeah,
full year.
Yeah, it was a long time. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the other big thing, I suppose, is sort of suspending family ties for a while as well.
Yeah.
I mean, that's, I guess,
That's
quite a story.
I think that will probably be the biggest challenge, not knowing what's happening to family back home, and even if I did sort of find out, not being able to do anything about it if my help was needed, other than stop sailing and fly over. But I guess every sailor's in the same boat, literally, for that one. It's just something we've got to put our head down, work around, prepare as much beforehand to make sure that if anything should happen, there are safety nets in place, and hope that you've done enough before you leave to mitigate any fallout. Yeah.
In terms of, as far as I understand, there is a tracking function on the boats?
Yes, there is. I've already installed my tracker. It's a tracker. It looks like a little flying saucer. It's mounted on the aft rail of the boat. It's made by a company called Yellow Brick, who just identify, they brand themselves as YB these days. It's their product is YB3i. It's permanently wired into the boat's batteries, and they will activate it remotely. It's got a satellite link in it. That will report our position every 2 hours until we get within a certain proximity of land, and then someone remotely will increase the frequency of that until we're at the sort of check-in points where it'll be up as often as every couple of minutes, and then back out and see they reduce the frequency. So
and then but you don't have access to that.
no, it's got no readout. It's got nothing that we can garner any information from it. So it's a slave setup beyond my control. Nothing I can do about it, and it's hardwired. I can't switch it off or anything. And then we have two other little trackers, which I don't have yet, but I'll pick up in the UK, that are portable, also made by the same company. One goes in the grab bag, and one will be available to send short text messages every day to Twitter and the race organisers and things like that.
Oh, okay. So you will have some contact off the boat.
Yes, it will be one-way traffic then.
Okay.
Yeah, nothing comes back onto the boat.
Okay.
Only info going off.
Well, that's good to know.
Yeah.
I thought you'd be completely non-contactable.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, I think just remains. There's obviously the event at the club before you leave, 12th of March.
Yes. Yeah.
Hopefully we can raise lots of money for you then.
That'll be nice.
See you on your way. And just remains. Wish you the best of luck.
Thank you very much.
So you will be the first solo non-stop South African.
Yes.
First South African to sail solo non-stop around the world.
On the condition that I finish
If you finish it.
yes, and that I beat Kirsten, who's the other South African entry. The charity race starts somewhere here at the south of England, and it races to the start line, which is in the town of Les Sables d'Olonne on the Bay of Biscay in France. And then on the 4th of September we start from there, sail around out of the Bay of Biscay down to the Canary Islands for the first check-in point. Then across the North Atlantic down the Brazilian coast to leave an island called Trinidad. We leave it to port and follow the route to near to Tristan da Cunha and come into a check-in point in Cape Town. From there it's kind of anyone's guess as to what happens, but we'll dip south as far as the latitude of 44 degrees south. We have to pass north of Kerguelen Islands, but south of St. Paul Island and Amsterdam Island on our way across the Indian Ocean. And we have another check-in point just in a little bay in the south of Tasmania near the port of Hobart. Then we have to duck south of New Zealand, and we can stay at a maximum of 47 degrees south going across the Pacific Ocean until we get to 110 degrees west near the South American coast, where we can dip down to 55 degrees south to around Cape Horn, and so we will go back in like that. From Cape Horn we'll probably dip inside the Falkland Islands or Las Malvinas to the mouth of the River Plate at Punta del Este, and from there make our way back up the normal sort of route across the Atlantic Ocean again and back to the finish.
It'll be quite something.
Yeah, I think it'll be different anyhow. Yeah.
All the best.
Yeah, thank
Best
you.
of luck.
Yeah, cheers. Yeah.